Hello and welcome to Update by Vegconomist. My name is Nadine Tilko, and today we are going to take a look at one of the most important gateways to changing culture and food habits, food service. More precisely, and plant-based strategies in food service. Before I get to introduce our experts today, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, Redefine Meat. Now, when we take a look at the last few months, we've seen quite a lot of ups and downs for the market, and also not only for food tech, but in a great way, especially in the EU for plant-based foods. And I'm very happy to take a look at what this might, have for aftermath for food service. Welcome today, Birte Stoltenberg, Head of Marketing DACH from Redefine Meat, Pierre Blaschke, Operations Manager at Enchilada Concept, and Karin Castro, founder of Institut de la Gastronomie Végétale, and also plant-based gastronomy communication consultant. Welcome, all of you. I'm really happy to have you here because now we have a broad EU view on the market, and of course we all have different experiences out there. Birte, can you tell me, was there anything that defined your work in the last months that inspired you? Anything that you can't get away from your mind? And could you tell us a bit more about your work and your position?
Happy to do so. Thank you, Nadine. And maybe for those that don't know Redefine Meat, we are a plant-based company, a food tech company, and we really have the mission and strive for innovating the market, the plant-based market, and to basically offer new meat. So because we think the world deserves better meat, and we think we want to do it the same tasty with all five senses, the same tasty, meaty experience, but with a positive, sustainable impact by being plant-based. So that's the background. And I must say, when I'm still having this in memory, that my game changer was when I was in Tel Aviv in a restaurant and I tried a Boeuf Bourguignon with Redefine Meat for the first time. This really was a game changer. And just because I was actually prepared to tell a little bit about me, which we now skipped, but I wanted to say that I'm a passionate vegetarian since my childhood or since my teenage days. And since then, I was, of course, missing those traditional dishes that you know from home. And with this now alternative, I would say, or with this new meat, it's possible now to eat those again. And this is something that really inspires me, myself. And this Boeuf Bourguignon was a game changer for me. So when I now recently had a cocktail, an Aperol Spritz with non-alcohol, it was really a very good taste experience as well. And I would call it not longer boring, but rather an upgrade. As we say, now we're having the meaty taste experience without compromise. I would say with the alcohol-free cocktails now, you have the same experience, but without a headache. So I really thought that was, for me, inspiring. And I can see that it's getting a bigger and longer trend. And for that, taste is believing, right? And only food service trends that taste well can succeed for the long term. And so I think we're getting there.
Definitely. That's no secret. Taste. We need it. And I actually had a Redefined burger today and was very, very tasty. I know you know a lot about the Redefined product also. Can you tell us what inspired you in the last weeks, or was there any situation that defined your work and what you're actually doing?
Yeah, thank you, Nadine. So first, to me, I'm an operations manager with the Concept family. We're one of Germany's biggest multi-franchise companies. I'm responsible for our Mexican brand Enchilada, where I develop new recipes, speak with our shareholders, control the implementation of our brand in the restaurants. And what has inspired me is, or what currently inspires me most, is how plant-based dishes, they are no longer positioned as substitutes, but as a genuine comfort food, and as experience that don't try to imitate, but that they have their own position on the market. And in my perspective on our work at Enchilada is that we see the guests don't come looking for ideology or for just something vegan. They come for the flavor, for the texture, and for the satisfaction and everything they want from a great tasting meal. and it doesn't matter if it's plant-based or not. They want to eat it because it tastes good and they have the experience.
Thank you, Pierre. Karine, could you, are you positive about what Pierre said? Is it this what drives the people to the dishes? And can you tell us a bit more about your work with chefs and hospitality, and maybe also what inspired you in the last weeks or months?
Yeah. Thank you, Nadine. So I'm the founder of the Institut de la Gastronomie Végétale, which is a French brand media that I created a few years ago, and I'm also consultant for the hospitality industry. I work with hotels and restaurants basically to help them develop and communicate their plant-based offerings with a focus on guest experience and sustainability values. And I've been working on this topic for 10 years now, mainly with the French market because I'm French and I've spent also many years in France. Now I am settled in Portugal, and I'm also observing how the Portuguese hospitality market is evolving in this area, and that's very interesting. Basically, what I've observed over the last years is the fact that chefs are giving a new place to vegetables in their menus. That's a fact. Chefs know how to use culinary techniques to work vegetables and put them at the front. And what is quite new is the fact that even starved chefs are switching to fully plant-based menus. And a great example of that in France is Chef Alain Passard, who has progressively transformed his restaurant L'Arpège with menus entirely based on vegetables from his garden. So basically, these examples show that it's possible for traditional chefs to reinvent their menus with a bit of creativity and curiosity, of course. And they can offer something completely different and innovative to the clients. So that's it.
Let's touch upon that later on, because I'm very interested in whether it's only vegetables or whether it's also products such as the burger from Redefined Meat, which are important for this change. But first of all, when we talk about changing food habits and plant-based foods, we also always have to take collaboration into account because it's so important. And I know Enchilada and Redefined Meat, you're working together, and especially also for the Veganuary, but also in general. And Bertie, could you maybe give us some insights on why this is a core element of your strategy and your experiences?
I think now you're gone. Can you hear me? Is it just Nadine that's gone? Okay. Actually, I'm picking up on that. And I liked your point, Karine, because I can confirm on that. And actually, we are also working with Michelin star chefs in the development. As we say, as I mentioned before, the world deserves better meat. We really strive, we are meat lovers, and we strive for gaining the best premium product in the end. And that's why we have been working together since the very beginning on with Michelin star chefs, with butchers, with culinary experts to really get to the best results. And as I mentioned before, as we all know, we will only succeed if the taste is the best, let's put it that way, and is the closest to meat possible. So as such, we know that consumers have had bad experience in the past. They either have not tried it yet, or because they are resistant and they are scared, or they have tried it and they had bad experience. So to overcome this hurdle, as it's still a product that needs explanation, right? There's still some hesitance to try them. We want to make it easier for them. And by working with partners, we have an ambassador. So our partner basically become our ambassadors. And that's how we work together. And by creating then this curiosity over the menu, via the menu, consumers are rather willing to try us because they trust our partners. And we had the same thing. So why do we do this foods, or why do we believe in food service? We also did that at the very launch. We had a food truck, and we would travel all around Germany to different events and festivals. And people sometimes didn't even know that we were plant-based because we just had the upside down cow. So they really tried it and they ate it. And when they afterwards found out it's really plant-based, they were amazed. And this created kind of a hype. So we were the underdogs that then became basically the hot stuff. And that's if you get the peers right, then it spreads. It's word of mouth, and that's how we really succeeded in the very beginning. So with the concept family, it was kind of the same, because we know people that try us rebuy us or retry us, and that's the game basically. And so with concept family, it was the same. When we met, we had a tasting with the stakeholders, and they just loved the taste. So they were convinced and decided to work with us. And then Enchilada, as one concept of the concept family, came into the game, and they had already experience in the plant-based sector. So they had already many different dishes on the menu. So they were actually very interested then, and it became love on first sight. So they quit with their current burger actually and took us on the menu, and then they were flirting with our flank steak, and we put it on the menu for Veganuary, because this is a chance to also prove the success, right? Veganuary is a limited time, so this is a chance to try out how guests react. And so they took the flank steak on the menu, and it was successful. So then it became a long-term partnership basically, and we became part of the standard menu, which then lasts a whole year. So this is really kind of a love story now, I would say. And the whole story became proven, or it got the proof point, because then there's the Foodservice ranking. I don't know if you guys know, but of the most vegan friendly restaurant chain, and it's supported by ProVeg. So Enchilada was the winner of this ranking. So this proved that what we have built up together was successful in terms of revenue, but also in terms of recognition. So so I think it makes sense to work together there.
You touched upon very many relevant points for making it a standard, and one is what you already said in your introduction is senses, and I know you brought a video, so let's share this video shortly, which is only a mood video to get to know the senses, because I think that's what food is about emotions. Yeah, can we imagine the chefs out there having these moments in their kitchen? Is this how it looks like? Why is this for you important to work together with companies such as Redefine Meat? Can you give us some more insights on your collaboration, and maybe also how it changed in the last years?
Yeah, so as Birte said, our collaboration started with the burger several years ago, because it was like she said, we tried it, we loved the product, it touched all the senses we wanted it to touch. It was, if you bite into it, you get the feeling you want from a burger, and so it was an easy change, and it then evolved into a test of further products during campaign phases like Veganuary. Veganuary is very important for us because we can test new products that are on the market on our guests and see, are they willing to try it, pay for the product or not. And during that Veganuary in 2024, we saw that the flank steak was very in demand, and for the Veganuary 2024, as Birte already said, we've been awarded Germany's vegan friendliest gastronomy brand by ProVeg, and because of that shared work and our commitment to plant-based meals. And what changed over time is that the guest acceptance clearly exceeded the expectations. Today, around 30 to 40% of all dishes sold at our Enchilada restaurants are plant-based, and several redefined meat dishes like the fajita with redefined flank steak have moved from limited time offers like Veganuary into our permanent menu for the second year in a row now. The key learning was simple. If the taste and the textures are right, guests don't see plant-based as a compromise, but more as an equal alternative.
Yeah, absolutely, but still, I mean, the word alternative also is a difficult word, I think. Karin, from your experience with chefs, you're working together with them. What skills and mindset do they have to bring, and Are we talking about alternatives? Are we talking about vegetables, or are we talking about a different mindset in general? How does your work look like with chefs?
Well, coming back to the ready-made solutions, one of the main challenges is finding the right balance between the different solutions available. The ready-made solutions play a very important role for sure, especially for chefs and food service operators who need support to take the first step or scale plant-based dishes efficiently. And these products can really help kitchens move forward and gain confidence in a way. At the same time, what I see is that there are chefs who prefer to work with raw ingredients and will never work with these ready-made solutions. But it really depends on the chef, the restaurant concept, the team skills. So it's here a mix of things. And by the way, we can also have a mix of both approaches. Again, it really depends on the context. For me, the key is for professionals to know what solutions exist on the market and understand how to work with them, because sometimes it's the pain point. Okay, the solution exists, but we don't know how to work with it. And then integrate them smartly in their menus using culinary techniques they already know.
Absolutely. And we brought one more video I want to share with you guys, because how you work with the product, I mean, it's very, very different, a burger or than, for example, go to the flank steak. So please let me share this also with you guys, so we can have a bit of an insight on how it looks like and feels like also this flank steak. Now, this has been in the Netherlands, and I know Bert and I took a look at it, and we about the main differences, and said, okay, this might be a bit much sauce. I bet in enchilada they're not using that much sauce. How was the work with the chefs there? And maybe Bertie, you can also join the conversation on how you educate the chef to cope with the new product, because it is different than meat. Pierre, maybe you want to start off.
Honestly, it's less different than expected, because the products are very intuitive to work for our chefs, because they behave similar to meat in preparation or on the pan, on the grill. Especially the flank steak fits well into our existing kitchen processes with standardized processes, standardized recipes. So it was not that much of a difference, or you didn't have to train our chefs that much. A little bit about how to cut it. Of course, it has a little bit different presentation than the meat on our plates, but it was not that difficult. The challenge was not the product itself, but fine-tuning the preparation details to be able to deliver a consistent, high-quality experience.
Yeah, and maybe to add on that, we do have a culinary chef, so our Kevin, and in the collaboration, he's really supporting our partners. And we are doing, for example, tasting. We're doing cooking session if wanted and needed. As said, enchilada is very well experienced with plant-based food already. But if we're working with customers that have not had so many touch points yet, we're happy to support them. And once we had a catering company, and they had chefs all over Germany spread, I would say. So what we did was we sent them sample kits in advance, and then we would do an online workshop so they could try out working with the products in advance, and then they could ask the question while our chef would show online how to cook with our products. But as Pierre mentioned, it really isn't that complicated, at least in our case. So we really strive for having the same versatility and the same easy to cook attributes, I would say, with our products. That's also in the core of our goals. So once you've tried it out, you will see it. But there's still the same hesitance that I've managed before for consumers. There's also for cooks, because they've just not learned it in school, right? And Karine probably knows about it. So if you have a chef, they've never trained plant-based food, except they are really young. But this is just something new. You have to realize yourself it's actually not that different, but you have to make the step once. And this is where we support. And also with, as Pierre said, also with the menus, with creating recipes or dishes or naming. Naming is also a thing. If you call it vegan, whatever, currywurst, consumers might not eat it because they think it's vegan, and vegan just doesn't taste good. It's just a stereotype. So if you call it, for example, we have one customer that's Centimeter in Austria, and they offer a hot currywurst challenge. And so if you make it, it's with chili and it's really hot, but if you make it, you get it for free and you get in the Hall of Fame. I think it's really a lovely way to support your gastro concept. And in that case, it's, by the way, it's vegan, or by the way, it's plant-based, not vegan, but plant-based. So it's not, the topic is not, no longer it's plant-based. It's just a choice, as Pierre said, right? It's a choice. It's not a worse alternative. It's actually an upgrade, because you do something for sustainability as well. So it's a parallel option, and by the way, it's plant-based. So it's really more about creating curiosity, creating appetite appeal, the same as you do for meaty dishes. So so you don't put them in the plant-based corner, but just put them on the menus widespread. If you have, I don't know, something as an appetizer or whatever, or it goes into one direction, right? You call it by naming it very culinary and very appetite appealing. The customers or the guest is choosing for the dish, and not if it's plant-based or not, because it doesn't matter anymore that much. And this is where we're heading to, basically.
Actually, when I took a look at 2026, my vision is that we kind of have to go out of the box this year. Would you say, because I know that you are, one of your basic pillars is that it is meaty, like it is it really is an alternative. But would you say that with everything you just said here, that we are moving away and already have the majority to be an own category? I mean, many companies are building up on own categories, and maybe also Pierre and Karine. I mean, you said you're working with vegetables. Are we already there? Because of course it's important not to say it's vegan, because we're talking about flexitarians. We're talking about people like me. I said I had the burger today because I just think it's really tasty, but I might have a meat burger tomorrow. So what are we there? Any of you guys?
At least it's what we are striving for. Let's put it that way. That's exactly where we want to go. It's inclusive, right? We don't say stop eating meat. We just say redefine it and give more options and give more versatility. And I think this is where we have to go. Are we there yet? As so proactive gastro partners, as Enchilada is there and is on its way. Are the consumers there already? Are the guests there already? No, probably not, but they will pick up on it, right? And you always have the one that go first. You have the peers that start off, and then the rest will follow. So I think you still need awareness for the whole topic. So Veganuary is really very thankful, because you create awareness and you create curiosity, and people just like to try. They are more open for trial. Let's put it that way. And trial is what makes it successful in the end, because when they try it, they taste it, and they taste it's good. So they will continue. That's how it works. But there's still lots of people who've had bad experience, and you have to bring them there again to try it again, and then find out it's actually really really tasty.
And then it's a simple choice. Karine, I know from discussions or conversations more with other people working with canteens that the chefs there, or the people cooking in the kitchen, whoever is in there, that they're very happy when they are trained to work more vegan and vegetarian, because they get to work more with the product again, or with the vegetables. And do you think this is the way of making an own category, but also implementing these other products like the alternatives? What is your experience with the chefs? Are they going back to the basics, and are they happy about it? Or what are like big hurdles out there also? I always ask too many questions at once, sorry.
Yeah. As I was saying before, it really depends on the chefs. In France, because we have a huge gastronomy culture, traditional chefs prefer to work on the raw products, the seasonal and local products, and it will really leverage the vegetable and make it as a star of the plate. He will work on with the culinary techniques to highlight the vegetable, one or several. Usually it's one main vegetable. But yeah, it's more on the bistro and gastronomic restaurants, for example. But then we have a lot of street food restaurants and more like day-to-day restaurant where these kind of solutions can be very valuable. And I guess some chefs already use some of these kind of solutions. So yeah, this is really a mix of possibilities depending on the vision also, because there is the vision and the philosophy of the chef, who is very important and who really push the chef towards what he thinks is best. So yeah, it really depends.
Yeah, going back to basics, is that a point of a strategic pillar maybe for you and the development of your kitchens out there? And also what I'm interested in is making it a standard, right? Because you're going from campaign to standard somehow. How did you get there, and how important is this not being vegan, not being vegetarian, but just being a good product? Did you have some insights on your customers, on the feedback?
Yeah, so to the pillar, yeah, of course, it's important for our brand to have vegan products, vegetarian products. But as Berta already said, we're not gonna tell all the customer. We're not gonna tell the customer it's vegan, right? Because it's vegan. But we want to have good alternatives, which then also are vegan. And it's a thing with the that Berta also said, where we don't have a special category where it's only vegan dishes, and there you can find it. If you look at our menu, they're all scattered throughout. You have a vegan burrito with a redefined burger patty that is in the burrito category, and you're going to find them all throughout. And if we have a product that is in the veganery, then the veganery is a strong entry point to see if a product is really working. But the successful products then need to prove if they work year round. And yeah, we test the fajita new meat in veganery 2024, and then we integrated the dish into our standard menus in the summer of 2024. And regarding the standards and consumer expectations, we see a clear differentiation in expectations. Some guests actively look for explicit plant-based dishes. For them, we then have a little sign that is explained as, okay, if you're looking for those dishes, look for the flower next to the menu item that is vegan. But others simply just want a great burrito or a fajita, regardless of protein source. So our standards have evolved from just having options to integrating plant-based dishes as equal menu items. For example, one of our best-selling tacos is a taco with a fried cauliflower. It's vegan because it's a fried cauliflower, but we don't sell it because it's vegan. It's an equal menu item.
And tasty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, Berta, do we need these marketing January campaigns, or do we need even more? I mean, the consumers have changed over the last years. The way they handle products like redefined meat, because they have tasted it and it's good. So are we there? Do we need those campaigns actually, or should we just be there all year long? What is your take on that?
I like to answer with two things, basically. So coming back to what Pierre just said, I think it's not only about Veganuary, right? It's about creating curiosity in gastronomy. That's what you do all year long. What's the task of a gastronomical concept? You have to come up with new things all the time to inspire guests and to make them come again. So again, it's not about talking Veganuary, it's about having an excitement. And for example, what we did, how do we support and how do we collaborate? We had next to the Veganuary campaign, we had an Earth Day campaign. So it wasn't necessarily on plant-based, but it was on Earth Day. Oh, there's an Earth Day. Okay, what does this mean? And then we would talk about CO2 footprint. So Enchilada decided to offer we developed this together, right? And they decided to offer the plant-based burger, the redefined burger, for €5. And while buying it versus a beef burger, a meaty beef burger, you save 5 kilos of CO2. So for making this, and this has become a campaign, right? And it's an edutainment. So what we did is then we had a social media campaign. And Nadine, what do you think? How much CO2, if you hear 5 kilos CO2, how many days can you charge your mobile phone in order to come up with 5 kilos CO2, right? It's very, very abstract. It's hardly impossible to really understand it. So really by saving 5 kilo CO2, it is charging your phone daily for 3 years. That's the equivalent. And it's amazing. Yeah. And realizing that it's interesting, right? So you have an interesting campaign. And by the way, yes, I'll try it because I want to try it out and I want to have an impact. And this gives you a reason why to buy the burger. So it doesn't have to be Veganuary necessarily, but it has to be storytelling, and you need an exciting story. And then when you top it up with a tasty product, you're all set. That's what you want as a gastronome, right? To create excitement within your guest.
Yeah, and that's a crazy comparison. Also, Karine, are campaigns such as Veganuary important for you? I guess not really, because you're in general talking to chefs and changing how the way they cook in hospitality. How do they actually communicate plant-based? Is this the topic at all, or do they just have different dishes out there?
For me, it's a topic. And my observation is that usually communication around plant-based menus is often underestimated. It's not enough to simply write vegan or vegetarian on a menu, showing, the little icon next to the dish. We really need to go further, and it's one of my role to push the teams to go further. As you were saying, to tell a story, make a little of storytelling, to explain the philosophy, the vision, to talk about the product used, maybe also the people who work behind the scenes, like producers, chefs, brands, whoever, explaining the why going this way. Explaining this why usually shows up the values behind. Of course, we need to avoid greenwashing and be authentic in this communication. But today we can see also a strong engagement around sustainability, which is the current trend in the hospitality industry, by the way. But we need to understand that plant-based gastronomy contribute to that, and is a key pillar for me. It's a key pillar to support sustainability, and that's why we have here an opportunity to communicate about hotel engagement, the hotel engagements, for example, and through plant-based cuisine, bring something innovative to these sustainable initiatives. We're talking about this game about the footprint. That's great. That's a great idea. To bring on the table these sustainable initiatives play a key role. So for me, communication is key to bring these topics and make them much more visible, for sure.
And maybe if I may add, Nadine, if I may add, we do know the Veganuary Org campaign organization, right? I mean, they always publish their numbers, and they say that it's still increasing. So the number of people that participate in Veganuary is still increasing, and also the intent to afterwards stay with a partially plant-based nutrition is increasing. So 31% of the participants of Veganuary are afterwards also increasing it to the rest of the year. So at least they have the intent. And for me personally, we are here in a bubble. So I'm absolutely convinced we still need Veganuary because it is increasing awareness within consumers. So we have to shout out loud and make this increase awareness again, and to increase the openness for trial. I think this is really still key. There's so many people out there. I mean, we're really experts here, and we're moving in this bubble of plant-based, but there's so many people out there who just don't care, and we have to constantly increase the awareness of this, as it's touching all of us, right? I mean, we have to face the fact that meat is going to get limited the more people we get. So for the future, we need alternatives. So we're just the first spice, but it's in the long tail. We'll all have to adjust to that. So why not making it most exciting possible at that point? Yeah.
Absolutely, more awareness and putting the focus there. When we take a look at what we have seen politically wise on EU level, when they are talking about are we allowed to say burger or meat substitute, sorry, I know the German words better than the English ones, but how would this change your work? Have you already, did you do the numbers, Birte, but also Karine and Pierre? How would this change the way the products are shown on your menus? I mean, I didn't even think about this point before we talked, that this could actually be a major change for all of gastronomy out there, bringing this on to the plate. Birte, maybe you want to start off. What would this mean? I mean,
yeah, definitely it would. It would have a financial impact, as we're talking about 25 products in food service and retail, and this is in 8 countries, so with different languages. So we're definitely talking money-wise about several hundreds of euro as an impact. And I can only say I can only hope and believe in common sense this is not going to happen, because there's no consumer misunderstanding. It is really, we have the vegan guidelines, right, or the vegetarian guidelines, and they're in place since several years, and it works quite fine. So there's no one really complaining about confusion. So yeah.
Yeah, what's your take on that? Will you change all your menus then later on in a few months if they decide that we're not allowed to, or the companies are not allowed to use certain words anymore?
I mean, if that's the decision, we would have to change our menus. Yes, we would have to redesign, reprint our menus, retrain our service. From terms like burger very restricted, our menus would probably become more complex, less intuitive. You know, if you would be allowed to put it in the same category, have to revamp it into a completely different kind of category. So that, in my opinion, that wouldn't help consumers. It wouldn't help us food service operators. It wouldn't help our partners, our service selling the products to the consumers. So yeah, clear and familiar wording is essential for us in hospitality. And our guests need to understand instantly what they're ordering, and it has to sound delicious, so they want to order it.
Kelly, before you jump on the topic, Birte, we're not, and to be certain, we're not talking about hundreds of euros, but thousands and thousands of euros, right? When we're changing all the menus and all the packaging and everything. Okay, Karine, is this an issue you have to cope with? Is this something that is relevant for your work later on for the menus when they are talking about not using certain words anymore?
Yeah, and I think in France we are more sensitive to the words. For sure, the words play a key role in communication, and terms like vegan or plant-based probably attract attention, but they don't always trigger a choice. You know, they can be attractive for vegan or vegetarian client, that's for sure, but it can also be repulsive for a meat eater. So the question is, what's the right way to say it? So I would say the challenge here is to combine accuracy and creativity in order to describe much more the flavors, the textures, the origin of the products, or how the dish is prepared. To really make a storytelling again around the dish. I would say this is a combination to find with the teams, of course, who need to participate in this brainstorming. And this is where chefs, F&B managers, and communication teams need to work together so the message is clear, appealing, and true to what's on the plate according to the products they use. So yeah, working on the wording is important for sure, and I would even say it should be part of a specific communication project if you want to do it properly.
Thank you so much, guys, for your insights on this very, very important topic. Regulation is one of the main, topics, or I don't even. I mean, it's creating the whole market, right? And we have no great influence, but telling those guys out there that it's difficult for you as companies, and we are an economic factor here for the markets. But so let's use the last minutes to take a look at 2026. Take a look at what you think are the topics that will shape the next year. Next to please don't change the way we are allowed to call those products. What will be drivers and maybe also hurdles 2026? Bertha, do you want to start?
Overall, I think a lot's going on in the world at the moment. So people have things that are very disruptive, geopolitical. So in terms of food and nutrition, they rather stick to what they're used to, and they stick to rituals and traditional dishes. That's what I believe. So it's more and more important to then have the same products that they're used to, maybe just plant-based, right? In order to really integrate it in their daily practices. So spaghetti bolognese, you can do the same way with the plant-based mince or with the regular mince. So this is important, I believe. Also, it's what we realize. It's about consumer. It's about consumer behavior, right? And what it's important for them. So next to the taste, it's also ingredients. So we are also striving for improving our recipes. So less saturated fat, less salt, increase of fibers and proteins. So we're continuously working on our products. I think that's important. Price parity is important. So with the scaling effect and the increase in beef, we of course hope to be price or to gain price parity at some point, which will then bring the base for really being a fair alternative choice. And I think it's so from our point of view, we do have some new products in development, and we will launch soon our really unique flank steak in a new version, even more meaty. So I think it is really important to taste is just a critical point. No one's is buying or rebuying our product if the taste doesn't excite and convince. So this is what we are working on and what we are striving for, to getting better on a constant base. And we'll also have something in petto for the whole cat business, which is the holy cow, right? And so especially for the meat eaters, if you want to get the real meat eaters, you need to have more options, and that's what we're working on. So to create a bit of excitement, stay tuned what comes from us, I would say.
Yeah. I bet you're excited about that. What's your take for 2026? Are you looking forward to the product? Is there anything else you're seeing in changing food service? Any developments out there?
Yeah, I expect especially the plant-based market to be more mature and less polarized. So plant-based dishes will be evaluated primarily on quality, on experience, on taste, on everything they deliver, but I believe less on labels. For us in food service, success will then depend on how well operators integrate these dishes into our core concepts operationally, economically, and as well very much emotionally for the guest.
Karine, 2026, what's there to come?
Well, my side, I expect plant-based cuisine to become increasingly professional and pushed at a high-end level, much more even. I can see that culinary schools, for example, are starting to organize themselves, including specialized trainings in plant-based cuisine and even vegan pastry. So that's a good step which is coming. On the other side, guests will expect to have access to plant-based dishes that offer complete nutritional balance. We didn't talk about that, but it's really important, I think, to consider the nutritional balance, which connects with the health and wellness, which are the big trends coming, by the way. And we can see some luxury hotels, including that concept with spas going this way, proposing healthy food and so on. And more generally, so the objective is for plant-based options not to no longer be an extra, but a natural part of the menus, where each dish tells a story and fits perfectly into the overall offering of the hotel or restaurant. And that would fit to any kind of client that would be interested in this offer.
Thank you so much, guys. It has been a pleasure creating this first update 2026 from Vegconomist. I'm really looking forward to the next topics. Maybe it's longevity, because I also have a feeling this is going to be very important for 2026. Thank you out there for watching, and welcome to the next update.